Welcome to the United Unbiased show, and tonight we're going to be talking about the state of Jamaica's youth football. And we'll be joined by Coach Winston, Coach Bob, and Coach Reynolds. And we'll hear these experienced coaches, very good coaches, sharing their ideas about how we can develop Jamaica's football, youth football, and how we would compare with the United States and Canada. All right, welcome, man. Tonight we have Coach Winston, Coach Bob, and the return of Coach Reynolds. And we're going to look at, as you can see, the state of Jamaica youth football. Because as a former player, not necessarily a coach, but as a former player, I'm just looking at the younger guys now and see what can be done for them as it relates to development. How can we move Jamaica football forward as it relates to the national program that we need to start from the youth level and how we can go ahead and develop that program. So, I don't know. So, Coach Winston, I'm going to start with you, and it's not really a question. I just want you to share your views on what you think, what is missing from youth football today as it relates to Jamaica and how it is at your side in Canada.
Thank you for having me. That's the first thing, and I hope you guys are healthy and maintaining in safety within this time. The pandemic crisis that we have. So for me, Jamaica need to adapt a national program. And that national program should be coming from the head coach or the director of football up top, JFA. What is it? JFF? JFF.
JFF, yeah.
That program then should filter down to the schoolboy level, to the community level. So therefore, what I'm trying to say that if we're adapting a system of play, that system of play should be national, to be island-wide. Because what has happened, and most coaches won't like that, we have too many coaches that go there and think that they're Sir Alex Ferguson or they're Klopp or whatever. So everybody wants to do their own thing. If you have a national program, a system of play at every level, then everyone will filter into the national program knowing the same things.
Yeah, we have a discussion similar to that not too long ago with the same Coach Reynolds here. Coach Reynolds, what are your views on that? Remember, we have a conversation about the same national style of play, the national philosophy.
Yeah, good night, coaches. Good night.
Right.
And I'm glad to be in the company of such illustrious people as it relates to football. Until we develop a culture where the JFF mandated clubs, because you see, one of the things that is happening in Jamaica, for the better part, we are depending on schoolboy football to develop our football, and that for me is not the way to go, right? Schoolboy football is just what they call it, a competition that you get into, and by the time you get into it, it finishes. Football development means hours of practice, hours of training from the youth level, the under 10s, the under 12s, the under 14. And so we have to look to club for development. And the only way you can spearhead such a program is for the JFF and the clubs to work closer together, where the clubs are going to be mandated to this structure or this culture and a philosophy in terms of how we want to develop, how we want to play. or we want to play in terms of a system that the previous coach would have mentioned, and that you need to start cultured from the under 10, from the under 12. Maybe at the under 10 you're not going to focus on systems, but style of play until they reach say 14, 15, you're going to develop systems. But yes, a national culture will have to be developed, and you will have to start with the JFF/clubs. You see, one of the problems we have with this is this win at all costs mindset. In Jamaica, if you're coaching under 10, the aim for most coaches is to win. If you're coaching under 12, the aim for most coaches is to win. And who are you to tell a coach that, look, let us develop a national culture? You know, so it is that situation, especially at the school level. And so all of this rests with JFF and the clubs, in my mind.
All right, thank you, Coach Reynolds. Thank you. Coach Bob, your views?
Well, I greetings everyone. Good evening. Don't know where the audience is, but just want to send 2021 shout out greetings. All the best to everyone. All right, coaches, players, children, country, everyone, life overall. I just want to ask a couple of questions. All right, and I guess maybe I should kind of introduce myself, because the panel here don't really know anything about me. And I wanted to ask the question, so I'm going to answer the question for myself first, right? And it's just to say that I have been a part of youth development for a long time, couple of decades plus, right? And however, I did not play any organized youth football in Jamaica outside of community and farm football when I went to school, right? So I just want to put that out there. Most of my experience in terms of youth development is based in the United States. Mainly on the coach side of it with youth in Florida. I'm in Florida here, right? So I don't really know what the status is. And I've been away from Jamaica for a while. So I don't really know what the status is. Like I spoke to Mark on the phone a couple of times, and I made it clear to him that I don't really know the status of the youth football as it relates to development in Jamaica, okay? What I do know as far as having an idea is I follow Manning Cup, online, some of the times. And the last time I really digested a real live school football in Jamaica, youth football on the high school level, was 2014. I was at the Oliver Shield down in Clarendon when CC was playing GSC. So, and I had some observation, and I had a brief discussion after the game with the coach, Hyde. What's his name? Carl Hyde of CC College, Clarendon College.
Lenny,
right?
Lenny Hyde, Coach Lenny Hyde, right?
Lenny Hyde, yeah, Lenny Hyde. Lenny Hyde.
Yes, sir. Lenny.
Yeah, I had a brief post-game discussion with him and T. Got Davis, who was an alumni at CC, and just a little conversation there. But as far as youth development in Jamaica and the status of it, I don't really have information. That's why I opted to go after, because I would like to kind of hear a little bit more about the status of the development before I can, make a suggestion, right? So that's what I want to say. Now, I can give my perspective on youth development here and just a little knowledge that I have in regards to other countries, just based on my knowledge with dealing with coaches from all over the place and having some relatives on the UK side who have been through the youth football process, you know, all the way up to the you know, Champions League side of it, you know. So that I can give my perspective. But the question that I have is when we talk about youth, and I heard Coach Reynolds mention a specific age, under 10. What age group are we specifically addressing when we say youth development? Where does it start, and you know, what age does this development start from or at? Because I have had youth from year 3-year-old that come into, you know, into my environment for development. You know what I'm saying? Some start as young as 3, some start a little bit older. So it's a variation of age range in terms of where that development starts. So I was just wondering if there is a specific age from the beginning of that development of that particular player.
All right. So let me ask a question now. And I want to direct the question to you again, Coach Bob. What age do you believe would be the appropriate age? And I'm going to ask each coach this. What age would you believe is the appropriate age to actually start youth football development?
Well, I would say that it depends on the interest of that youngster. And I'll say that because a significant number of parents that I have dealt with, right? And by the way, we had a program, and I've worked with most of the clubs that are in the Central Florida area, right? And the last job I had as what they call an XL, I was the XL development coach, right? So I was not coaching a specific team. So I would get players from 3 till they get to 6 years old, right? And then I had different sessions with respective groups to develop them, right? So I saw players that I had 3-year-olds. I had a group of 3-year-olds to 4-year-olds, you know, 4 to 5, 5 to 6. You see what I'm saying? So then, and sometimes I had to kind of lump them all together. So I had different age groups, and just as an instructor. Now, as a coach, see, there are different aspects of the development. That's why I'm trying to figure out, you know, what part of the development we're dealing with. Because I hear about, you know, a system, a culture, you know what I'm saying? Which, yes, it's a part of development. But when I look at development, even in terms of the definition of the word, it's like growth, progress. So it's like building a house, right? You have to lay the foundation first. If the foundation is not firm, strong, then no matter how you put the prettiness on there, put up a roof here, then it's gonna. So the development for me, my philosophy is that the foundational aspect is actually the embryonic stages of the development. So it doesn't really matter to me at what age that child initiates that development. Because the thing about it, some coaches and some parents believe that if this child starts at age 3, then they're going to be that better player, which I don't believe that. Because sometimes what I find is that here in the youth that I deal with, right, it's the parents who kind of initiate that interest in the child, right? So we don't know, and I've seen this before, we don't know if that child really has that interest, because contrary to that, in Jamaica, I remember when I was a kid coming up, I initiated the interest. You see what I'm saying? Matter of fact, my parents would say, I don't want you to keep playing a ball, it's about school and, you know, that kind of a thing. So that also plays into the development aspect. You see what I'm saying? Of that particular child, whether the child starts at 2, 5, 6, or what have you. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. What part of development, because the development never stops. Okay, no matter how much of a pro you are, no matter how much knowledge you're the game, because even today, at 66 years old, I'm still trying to evolve with my knowledge. I mean, I still search information and see, because the game changes all the time. The laws change. I mean, you know, the whole thing changed. And I believe that, and what I do as a developer, coach / trainer, all of that good stuff, is a part of the development philosophy that I have. The laws of the game is also a part of that. So I want to know what the new change of the laws are, right? And then, you know, I kind of incorporate that in the development, right? So I just want to make that point. Now I can speak specific to, you know, my program as far as, you know, what I believe and what I see work and for me, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, we can get into that. But I just wanted to know, you know, how do we look at development? Because I think sometimes people have different definition for terminologies and words and, you know what I'm saying? So I just want to make sure that, you know, my understanding of the development, you know, has some kind of commonality with the whole development aspect of the thing, you know? So,
so
start here.
We're going to go to Coach Winston now. Coach Winston, let me hear your views on when you think this development should actually begin.
Yeah, I want to back up a little before I get into that, because what had actually happened, the way the question was asked, Bob.
Yeah.
Bob, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Man.
Is what I think it was an overall. It was more comprehensive. What do you think about Jamaica football and how you think we should approach it?
All right. Yeah, I can't speak specific to that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was about that the first part of the question. Then Mr. Reynolds segued into the development aspect.
Yeah.
So what I think Mr. Whittick is pinpointing, I want to home in on, is youth development. But he wanted to know. He also wanted to know the structure of Jamaica football. What could we do? What do you think should happen to change the overall structure? Then we move into youth development part of it, right, Mr. Reynolds? Because you were the one who talked about the youth development, and youth development is basically from 3 to the adolescent age. That's youth football, unless they go pro because I have kids and they don't want them over Europe until they're about 14.
Correct.
Right? So forget about that. So if we go into the youth development aspect of Jamaica football now, it's a whole different ballgame, and I think that's where you wanna emphasize your podcast on.
So where does the youth? Let me just interject. Where does the youth stops? You said to adolescents.
Yes, I would say youth development, because what we look at from say 3, they start touching the ball until 14 before you start to specify certain things. You know that too. But I'm just talking about the overall youth development. Youth. So if we're gonna say youth, adolescent is up to 19, right? So we want to keep it within that age group limit for the kids that haven't gone pro, because development is continuous. We know that. We just want to look at how Jamaica approach it from the kids start kicking that box on the street till we start getting them organized, and we start having them playing competition from the start to kick the ball. That's how it is in Jamaica, Mr. Reynolds. We kind of get them into competitive football a little bit too early.
Exactly.
Strong competitive football.
What age is that?
Thanks again for joining us on the United Unbiased show, the football talk. And listen, you must have learned something there. You must have learned something there, especially for those young coaches, man. You must have learned something. Now, like, share, watch, subscribe, and join us again on the United Unbiased show. where we share our ideas and we get very experienced persons to share with you guys. Thanks again for watching.